A challenge I see too many business owners have is the way they go about making decisions. This is an issue that happens over and over and over. We've developed a decision making process that, when used, will get you better decisions about what you should do and, more importantly, why you should do it. But before we get into the nitty gritty of how this system works, I want to tell you a story. This is what happened, and this is why I came up with this system. It happened, and probably around 10 years ago. I was at a conference. I was talking to somebody about their firm. Now, this was in the wealth management world, not in the construction world, but the story works just as well on either side. And what happened was, a person came up to me and was thinking about buying another company. Now, I help people do that a lot, so it was a logical thing for her to do. And I wanted to test out this system, and this was a perfect thing to do. So she said, I want to buy the system and buy another company. And then I said, well, okay, that's interesting, but if you buy this company, what will be good for you? And she listed a whole laundry list of things to do this. And I said, well, why is this important? And what about this is important? How would this make your life better? So we kept digging down and digging down and digging down and digging down. And we finally got to the core why, which was she wanted to be at a firm that had $100 million in assets. She thought she was going to get better purchasing, better things from her suppliers, better ability to make her firm run better. So then we went back and we took a look at what she wanted to do. Was she started off saying, gee, I want to buy a firm. And then we said, well, is this the best way to get to where you want to go, to become a $100 million firm? And the truth was, there's a lot more risk with buying a firm than having a marketing program that would do internal growth that would get her to $100 million. It might take her a little bit longer, but it would be way less expensive and way safer along the way. And then we said, okay, now we know what we want to do. Who needs to be on the team? So she came up with the people that needed to be on the team. And then finally, we started talking a little bit about how we get there. Now, the truth is, most people who do planning or do a project, they start off with how they're going to get to where they want to go. They don't go through the other processes first. So let's talk about why that's really important. So let's start working a little bit on the nuts and bolts of our system. So we call this a stage 2 decision process. And there are 4 steps with one of those steps repeated. So here's how it works. First, we start out with what I call the postulate. This was, I want to buy a company for the person I was talking to, and it's something, an idea of what we want to do. Now, the next step we do is we dig down at least 5 levels to find out why this might be a good idea. And this is the why portion of what we're working on. And third, we go back and look at what we want to do to see if it still makes sense. Just like in our story, you will more often than not find a more elegant way to get to where you want to go that'll be less expensive, give you a better result, and help you get where you want to be. And fourth, and this is an important step, we decide who is going to help us get there. After all, we never get anything important done without help from others. And this is really a huge thing for you to understand. If you don't know who's going to help you get there and you don't have a team set up, it's going to be very, very hard to do it. But once we get clear on what we want to do and why we want to do it, it becomes pretty obvious about who should be on that team. And finally, we get to how we're going to achieve the outcome. We decided what we want. So this is something that, people spend lots and lots of time on. And the truth is, once you've done the other steps ahead, what you're trying to do, why it's important, who's going to be on your team, the how becomes pretty obvious and pretty simple. So in most instances, I see people in construction companies start with the last step. They go right to how to get to where they want to go. And too often this means wrong things are going to be done. I see too many contractors making decisions from the gut. And getting results you want becomes very, very difficult when you start doing gut decisions. We believe it makes more sense to have a system for making decisions that will get you the results you want. So here's how you do it. Before you start on a project or a major action, start with using the stage two decision processes. What, why, what, who, how. Always make sure for the why for what you want to do is really strong. Without a why that's strong, you're going to have a hard time finding people to get behind your idea. And three, line up your team that's going to help you to get to where you want to go. And with the team, decide the best way to get there. Don't really get into the how you're going to do that till you put your team together and have your team work with you on this in a collaborative manner. Now, if you do these three simple things, I can promise that your decisions will be better, your team will be more aligned, and your results will be much better. Isn't that something you can get behind? So I would love to have a conversation about how to use our stage two decision process. So feel free contacting me at jpatrick@stage2planning.com to set up a time to talk. In the meantime, if you're not ready to talk, download our free infographic on our stage two decision process. On one page, you'll have the instructions for how to make better decisions in your construction company. And while you're at it, scroll down, let me know what you think about having a system for making great decisions that gets great results. Hey, this is Josh Patrick. You're at The Sustainable Business. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.